So let's think about this scenario for a second. Somebody clicked on your TPT product and they did not buy. Why? Why didn't they buy? Why didn't they purchase it? Because for them to click on it, they were interested. That's the thing they were looking for, but they chose not to make a purchase. And I'm guessing the vast majority of them went on to make a purchase somewhere else. Well, there's lots of reasons that they might not have purchased. Here's a few. The thing looked complicated or confusing. They didn't understand how to use it in the classroom, whether it's from the teacher side or the student side. They can't picture it happening or working in their room. They're not 100% sure what's included or how it's going to work. They don't really think it's going to help their students, or it's too complicated, like it's just too much prep for them to purchase it and then implement it. They didn't want to do all that. Now, of course, there are other reasons, but based on this short list, it boils down to like two things: clarity and simplicity. When someone goes to the TPT and they're trying to purchase something, they want it very clear what it is that they're purchasing, and it needs to be simple. These are the two big objections that you, as the marketer, as the seller, have to overcome to get the sale. And you really only have 4 opportunities. Well, that's not true, but you have 4 main opportunities to overcome these objections. You can overcome them with your cover image, your thumbnail images, your preview file, and your description. And I just realized over there it says cover nail, so that's not right. Moving on, our agenda for today, we have a few things we're going to get done. First, I'm going to show you how to optimize for higher conversions: cover images, thumbnails, preview files, and product descriptions. And before we dive into that, I do want to confess to you that this was not my strong point. When I started my TPT journey, I was very bad at this. It wasn't until I started my membership and started trying to help my members do this that I started to figure out and get much better at it. So my TPT store, I'm still in the process of going through and updating a lot of my products because I didn't do a good job with these things, but I'm glad now that I know how. I want to start by making this point that Donald Miller makes in some of his marketing material in his books. Thinking burns calories. And as human beings, we're designed to avoid burning these calories. We want to hold on to them in case we need them for later, in case there's danger and we need to run, or in case there's something complex and we really need to think. So our mind is always taking these shortcuts to avoid having to burn too many calories on the thinking process. Now, as a TPT seller, we talked about that your product needs to convey clarity and simplicity. If it's clear and simple, the reader doesn't need to burn these calories to figure out what it is and how it's going to benefit them. And if they can't figure that out right away, they're going to leave. They're going to go somewhere else and buy from somebody else. So if your customer doesn't know what this thing is, what it does, how to use it, and why they need it in a few seconds, they're leaving. That will be a non-conversion for you. So as we're going through our cover image, our preview files, our thumbnails, our product description, and you're looking at yours, you need to ask yourself right away, is it obvious? What is it? How to use it? Why it's necessary? Okay, one more illustration before we dive deeper into this stuff. Imagine you're going on a vacation, and we're teachers, most of us, so we have spring break and summer break and things like that. And so you're looking at 2 similar listings on Airbnb, and they're in the same location, they're the exact same price. How are you going to figure out which one you should invest your money on? Well, you're going to look at pictures of it, right? You're going to want to preview it. You're going to read the description. You're going to want to know the benefits of each, the amenities. We would call those features on our TPT products, but for a rental, it's going to be the amenities. All these things are going to help us make our purchasing decision. And the same is true when looking at TPT products. We have to show off what we've got, and we have just a few places we can do it. So let's optimize our cover image, thumbnails, preview file, and our TPT product description. And as I said, there will be other things we'll be going over as we go through this, and I'm going to be giving you templates and stuff along the way. The cover image, the main job is to get the click, okay? So I know we're talking about conversion rates, and a great cover image is going to get you lots of clicks, and then if the other stuff doesn't do its job, it's actually going to lower your conversion rate. But your cover image still can help you get a high conversion rate if it's setting the proper expectations, okay? And that means that it's clear. You're giving a lot of information on the cover image that they need to know. I said a lot, but I mean the relevant information. Okay. Some design tips for your cover image. Have a title that's 1/3 to 1/4 the size of the image. Now, that image there on the right, that cover image, I don't feel like that's actually a third or a fourth, so I challenge that to get bigger. But use a good amount of your space as your title, and the title doesn't have to be at the top. You know, our eyes kind of do gravitate towards the top, but they'll still go towards the bottom or the middle or wherever you put that thing. It fits nice and big. So we need to have a title that's 1/3 to 1/4 of the image. Make it pop. An easy way to do that is to have a border behind it, a different color. Like there, you see product titles in blue, but behind it, it's in black. You want your font nice and easy to read. Sorry, another easy way to make it pop is shadow it, outline it, different colors, all that things. And then, like I said, have a nice, easy to read font. Some more design tips. At least half the image should showcase the product. Now, for me, all my stuff is worksheets and they're math and it's middle school, high school, so it's not so easy to showcase the product. So you can get creative. Like if I was doing a Martin Luther King Jr. worksheet, I might just have a nice clip art image of Martin Luther King Jr. or something like that that kind of conveys what's happening on this product or what it's all about. Here, I might have a fractions worksheet or something that goes with manipulatives, but I'm showing off these fraction manipulatives. So don't get bogged down into thinking you have to show an image of the worksheet, although a lot of times that is what we do and that's okay, but use a good amount of space to show off what you've got. Footers are those are good places to give more information. Don't give too much information. You don't want it crowded. You don't want it small to read, but you do want relevant, important information that you're showing off in your footers. And of course, the footer doesn't have to be at the bottom. It can be in a circle or in a shape or at the top, maybe called a subheader, whatever. Some other design tips: use bright colors, have a border, make it very clear, we're talking about clarity, what it is for and who it's for and what it is, and then use embellishments like we talked about with the MLK image, or if there's a pen like this image in the top right, the color by numbers, you see a crayon drawing and little embellishments that make it kind of just look a little bit neater and more fun. So use those as you can. The image on the bottom right, that's a good image of the title taking up a lot of space. You see it's just the worksheets, but we're using colors and outlines to kind of make it pop. A lot of white space to help it look more aesthetically appealing. And you see the border around it's a different color, which is sometimes a great strategy. One final tip: you want your image of your cover image of your product to pop when the TPT person or shopper is scrolling through the products on TPT. So they've gone on to Teachers Pay Teachers and they typed in adding integers worksheet and they're scrolling and they're seeing lots of stuff that all looks the same. You want yours to be different, and that's a great way to let your cover image do the work for you. Okay, your first freebie. I'm going fast. I'm going to give you 3 cover image templates. I sell 17 of them, so I'm going to put 3 of them in a file, and you can have those for free. And I've shown you a bunch of them. It might even be one of those that you already saw, or one that's on this image here on the right. At the end of this video, there will be a link for you to go find all of these freebies that I'm going to put into one file for you, or at least one download for you so that you can get it. And this is the first one. So we talked about optimizing the cover image. I hope that made sense. We're going to move on to our thumbnails. If I say preview image in this, I apologize. I do that all the time, but I know they're called thumbnails, but you might hear me say preview image. Okay, so the goal of the thumbnails is to answer questions that the reader has or your potential customer has about your product and to overcome any objections. That's super important. So I tell the members in my membership, in our images, we want to show and tell. So show off the product and tell. So we only get 3 thumbnail images. We got to make the most of them. In those thumbnail images, we have to convey to the purchaser, the future purchaser, what this thing is, what is included when they buy this thing, how it works. What are the benefits for the students or for the teacher? What are the wins? And those are what you want to focus on in your images. And like I said, show and tell. Don't just show an image of it and expect them to figure it out. Tell them what it is. Okay. So this is a good example, the image here on the right. Tell them what makes it great. Show off the image, or you can do part of the image, point to it, explain it, use your words. Don't use a lot of words to clearly communicate the benefits to the teacher or to their class. One thing here I said down there in the third bullet, state the obvious. Sometimes we think they should just look at it and automatically know. Don't do that. Just go ahead and state the obvious. Here's a great example. This I think is also from Donald Miller. Dr. Pepper sold these 15 packs of canned soda for the same price as the 12 pack. And what you obviously should know is that this is the better deal because 15 is more than 12. But they don't just leave that for you, the consumer, to figure out on your own. They don't trust you to know that 15 is more than 12. They come out and say 15 is 3 more than 12. And the reason they're doing that is not because they think you're stupid, it's because they're stating the obvious. They're helping you not burn calories so that they can make that sale. Some thumbnail tips. Show the product, explain what makes it great, your unique selling feature. What is it that is so good about this thing that the teacher or that class must have it? Okay, clearly explain, I think I meant to say here, what's included. You need to show off what's included. It doesn't have to be like this where they can clearly see everything. It's okay to have pictures overlap each other, but we want them to know exactly what they're getting. Here's a great, this is also for your copywriting, a great tip is to paint a picture of it being used in the classroom. Help them see the benefits that the teacher or the students are receiving as a result of using your product. Or you can highlight the pain. Now, I don't highlight pain so much in my TPT product descriptions. I more do that in blogs and emails and pins and social media. But that is a great copywriting tip as well, is to highlight pain or paint a picture of success. When you do that, you make connections with the reader so that they are more likely to trust you and do business with you. Okay, we already said this, but use images, use words, use embellishments. So this product here, it's a slope activity. It's a game where they shoot the aliens. So the embellishment here you see is the alien, and then there's images of the worksheets, but you can't see all of them. This is what I was talking about with overlapping them so that the reader has a good idea. Okay, there's 4 worksheets here. I got a good idea of what they look like, and the aliens just for fun, of course. Okay, I'm adding to your freebie. So I'm giving you 3 cover images, and now I'm going to give you 3 thumbnail images, and I think I went this whole thing without saying preview image. So good on me. As I said, I'll be sharing a link at the end of this with all the freebie stuff. I already said this, but I guess I'm going to say it again. On my YouTube channel at Teach Create Sell, I have this playlist here. It's called Increase Your TPT Conversions, and we dive deeper into all of this stuff. So I think each video is like 10 to 15 minutes on the title, on the cover image, on the preview images, the product description, all that. So we can go deeper, and there's more examples on the YouTube channel. Okay, another bonus. We're not going to get into this in this training, but the price will influence your conversion rates. One of the things I said we were going to talk about is what's a good conversion rate. Well, that depends, right? If I've got a $1,000 product, a 1% conversion rate is awesome. And if I've got a $1 product, a 1% conversion rate is not so great. So price actually matters on your conversion rates. And setting the right price also matters because you guys know there's a certain price that you got to be above to have higher percent, to keep a higher percent of the revenue. And you don't want to go too high to price people out. So I have a video that I don't usually share. It's not on the channel, so it's hidden. It's for my members, but it's called Turkeys, Turquoise Jewelry, and Pricing. It's based on the book Influenced by Robert Cialdini, and it's fantastic. I highly recommend the video. It's full of great illustrations and fun stories that are entertaining. And then it's going to talk to you about pricing and how to do that. And some of the information there, I think it's surprising. So this will be in the bonus file at the end. Okay, so we've done cover images and thumbnails. Let's talk about the preview file. And of course, you should know this, but I'm going to say it anyways. The preview file is that button that the TPT customer clicks on that says View Preview. It is a separate file, and they have to click on it for it to appear. Although now I think when they click on the thumbnail images, it still takes them to the preview file, and they put the thumbnail images in there. And this thing is downloadable, which we will talk about in a little bit. But that's important to remember. You upload a PDF, and the person who clicks on it can download that PDF. So you want to protect your images, protect your worksheet, all that good stuff. TPT has released data. Forgive me for not knowing the exact numbers, but it says that having a preview file increases conversion rates. This is not by a little bit. It's a good amount. So it's a great strategy to have a preview file. Now, TPT's come out and said, we recommend 1 to 3 pages. At least last time I checked what they were saying. I recommend 3 to 5. I don't think your 1 is enough. I don't think 2 is enough. I say 3 to 5. You don't want to do too much more than that because you're going to overwhelm your reader, your viewer. So what should be on the pages? You got 3 to 5 pages. What should be on it? I recommend taking 1 page to dedicate for one thing. So don't explain what it is and what's included and what makes it great all on 1 page. Have 1 page that says what's included. Okay, then I recommend you answering these questions. Explain what it is, show what's included, show how to use it, its advantages, explain what makes it great. So talk about its benefits, not its features, its benefits. And a little trick I give people on the difference between features and benefits is just take a white sheet of paper and draw a line down the middle and list all the features on the left side. For example, it can be used in stations, or it has a critical thinking section, or whatever. It's color by numbers. Okay. Then to the right of that, list the benefit. So what that it's got a critical thinking section? What's the benefit of that? Oh, that helps, the teacher analyze, or it helps for test preparation, or helps for independent data collection, or whatever. Okay, and then highlight the key features. That's kind of what's been said already, but these are some things I try and accomplish in our preview file. Now, the preview file and the thumbnails images do a lot of the same stuff. But on the preview file, you've got more space to do it. You've got more opportunity to use words. You can use more words. It can be smaller. Okay, other great things to have in your PDF download, your preview file, is a reviews page. If you've got a product that's been up for a while and you're optimizing it and it's got reviews, take screenshots of those, put them on one of the files, and put that in your preview, or one of the pages, images, and put that in your preview file. I personally, this is straight from my preview file, I like to hyperlink. I post the logo of my store and the name of my store, and then I hyperlink back to the store. The reason I do that is, in my mind, I just know, like, the way I shop is I look at stuff and then I think about it, and I'm like, oh, I want that, but I don't buy it right away. And then I want to come back and I can't find it. But if I looked at the preview file, maybe I downloaded it. So I'm hoping, as the TPT seller, I'm hoping that my readers, if they didn't purchase it, maybe they downloaded the preview file, and that's why I hyperlink back to the store. Or you can get real creative and hyperlink back to the product. That would be a great strategy. Dimensions, hot topic. I don't have the best answer for you here, but what's best for dimensions? Square, horizontal, or 16 by 9 like the presentation mode? Okay, everybody has different opinions on this. I personally think wider is better because a lot of people are viewing them on cell phones or on their computers, and it's small. I don't know if you've clicked on a preview file recently, but it comes up so big and you're zooming out. So I like to use the dimensions 16 by 9 so that if they rotate the phone, or if they're on the computer, it fills the whole thing up and they can see everything. So I am going to give you a bonus with some preview file images, but they're going to be horizontal because that's what I used to give. But I'm now using the 16 by 9 as my template for my products as I'm optimizing mine. So I do think that's the best strategy, but I don't think there's a wrong answer here. What should they look like? Okay, the image in the top right is what I was telling you. I am still working on improving my product listings because that's what they used to look like. I used to just take an image of the worksheet, put some lines through it, and then be done. And this is showing, but it's not telling. I haven't explained the benefits. I'm expecting the reader to look at it and know exactly what makes it great. So now what I'm doing, if you look at the bottom, that's one of my preview file images. You see I've got pictures of the worksheet so they can see it, but I've covered up parts of it so you can't just click on it and use that and print it in your classroom. But I'm telling the reader what's good about this, what it has, what are the benefits. And you might argue, could even do better than what I've done, but I want you to see what I think is a good format. So use part of the image. Let your preview file be more wordy than your thumbnail images. You still want it to be real aesthetically appealing, eye-popping. And I'm using this format here where I have a dark color in the background and then a light-colored square with a border, and then I put everything inside that light-colored square. I just think it looks appealing and pops. Okay, use embellishments and arrows and things like that. All right, moving on. Another good strategy is to blow up a section. So instead of showing the whole worksheet, just show a section. blow it up, let them see so they really can experience it, understand what it's like, see how great it is. And then still, like I said, use your show and tell strategy where you're explaining what's great about this section of the resource. How to differentiate between the preview file and the thumbnails. I already said it, I'll say it again. You've got more space on the preview file, so use it. You can go deeper, you can say more, you can use more words, you can use more images. Fill that thing up. Take your time explaining why it's really great. Okay, again, I want to remind you to overcome objections in your thumbnails and your preview file. Think through why someone might not purchase your product. They don't think it's going to do this, or they're not sure it's going to help with that, or they think it might take too long, too long to set up. Overcome these objections in your file, in your product descriptions, in your thumbnails. Use words like no prep, ideal for whatever, centers or independent practice or homeschool or whatever. Explain how to use it, show and tell what's included, and then we already talked about those great copywriting strategies of painting a picture of success. So, more for your freebie. I'm going to give you 3 preview file images. And what I always recommend is just settle on one image that you like and then copy and paste it and use that for all 3 or all 5 of your images. So I'm giving you 3. Don't use all 3 in one preview file. I think that would be confusing. Just pick one and use that format or that style. All right, let's move on to product descriptions. Now, you've probably seen my video about this custom ChatGPT bot for TPT sellers. People keep asking me about it. That is something that's only available for my members in my membership. And I'm not selling my membership right now. So it's really, this chatbot is really cool. You just upload your file and it'll write the cover image, or I'm sorry, the title and the preview, the product description for you. You can paste your TPT URL, product URL into it, and it'll tell you how to optimize the images and the pricing and everything. It's really super cool. You can see the video on it if you want. I'm not sharing that video. What I will be giving you is my next best thing, which I used to sell. And that is my ChatGPT prompt that I use for my product descriptions. And so there's a video that goes with that. And all I do is I take this ChatGPT prompt, I paste it into the chat, and then I edit it a little bit for my product. And it spits out what I feel is like a pretty good TPT product description. So that's going to be in the download at the end of this video. Okay, I want to read you a little bit from my book on optimizing your TPT products. And it says, customers want to know what they're getting. They need to understand the value of the product, and they need to be sold. When people are looking at your product, trying to decide whether or not they're going to make the purchase, the thing that's going to make the decision for them is your copy. Copy means written words. They will read the product description and either be inspired to purchase or left to think about it. So your product description, your copy, needs to close the deal for them. So I do have a whole course on copywriting. I think copywriting is super important. I'm going to give you some tips here. And of course, there's videos on that YouTube channel, so you can go there as well. But think about this presentation. Well, first, get right to the point. Think about the presentation that I'm giving you right now. I began by telling you what we're going to do and then playing a game with you and giving you some illustrations. I still haven't even introduced myself. You might not know my name at this point in this video because I went in and got right to the point. If I began by saying, hey, my name's Chris and I'm a dad and I like to surf and this and that, you wouldn't care. That's wasting your time. And don't do that with your copy on your TPT product. Get in and get right to the point. Highlight the pain or paint a picture of success. That's a great strategy to use in your copywriting. It does come off as a little weird when you're writing a TPT product description, but if you can do that, it's really good. Like I said earlier, I do this a lot in my emails and in my blogging and my pins and stuff. If you can highlight the pain, like it was our 5th time teaching adding fractions, and I walked over and half the students still were adding the denominators, and I was banging my head. That teachers are going to relate to that, and they're going to understand that you know how to solve it because you've been there, and now you've got the thing that's going to fix it, and that thing is my product, so buy it. Make it skimmable. When we read on a website or especially on a product description, we skim. It's part of that burning calories thing that I was talking about at the beginning of this. So make your copy skimmable. Use headers, use bold font, underline things. Can we underline in the product descriptions? I think we can. Use bullet points. Emojis. We can now use emojis. We used to not be able to, or just a very few. It seems like a lot more are able to be used, and that does help make things skimmable and look really better. So go ahead and use them. Another great copy is short sentences and short paragraphs. So I love talking about this because it's super important. I love talking about Hemingway, Ernest Hemingway. You know, he wrote some great stuff, but if you haven't read it, you don't realize that all his best works are short stories, short novels, and things like that. And he once got into this public argument with another author over words, and he said to a newspaper reporter, he being the other author, he thinks big emotions come from big words. They don't. He thinks I don't know $10 words. I know them, but there are better words, and those are the ones I use. Okay, so now think about Shakespeare. He's written, I don't know how many sonnets, but like 100 playwrights and things like that. Tell me a line from Shakespeare. You probably said, Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo? To be or not to be, double, double, boil in trouble, or boil, boil, toil in trouble, however that one goes. Knock, knock. Did you know Shakespeare invented the knock, knock joke? Okay, all of those are short words, short sentences. Make your words short. Make your paragraphs short. Make your sentences short. I didn't put it on the script on the slide here, but also alternate your sentence length. You should not have all short sentences. Do some short and some a little longer and some shorter and longer. Don't get monotonous with the length of your sentences or the reader's going to zone out. Okay, another freebie for you. This is from my copywriting course. It's one of my favorite videos. 11, I don't know why I'm making that face in this video. 11 tips for clear copywriting. I will hyperlink to that in the download. This is a fantastic video. I think it's 30 minutes long though, but it's great and it's going to help you improve your copywriting. Some must-haves in your product description. And these, explain what the product is, explain what makes it the best, explain what's included, explain how to use it. And all of those things should be like their own section. So what's included, make that bold, and then a little snippet, and then how to use in the classroom, stations, centers, independent practice, sub-day, and a little blurb. And those should all be bullets. Make your copy skimmable. Also, as we said, paint a picture, pain or success. Okay, again, I'm going to say this again to drive home this example. I'm saying the thing that I don't think needs to be said because I've already said it, and that's to say the thing you don't think needs to be said. Don't let your reader figure out what makes this thing great or how to use it or what it is. Just tell them. Be very specific. Your product description does need to be keyword rich. Okay, product descriptions do show up or help your product show up in search engines like Google. So you want to use keywords and you want to have a nice call to action. How long does your product description need to be? As long as it needs to be and no longer. So don't say a lot of words that aren't necessary, but say everything that needs to be said. Okay. Hopefully at this point you have a good idea on how to optimize your cover image, your thumbnail, your preview files, and your product description. And these are the best things you can do to increase your conversion rates. If you want more help on that, go over to my TPT channel at Teach Create Sell and click on that playlist. I think I got it. Yeah, click on the playlist and click on the increase your TPT conversions. And I will warn you, it's not the first one. I just put the first one in this image. Okay, but we go deeper into all of that stuff. Here's a picture of the playlist. You see, we talk about the TPT store banner, the categories, product descriptions, the cover, the title, all that good stuff. Like I said, not all of these might be available yet. Some of them might still be unlisted, but they'll show up soon. Okay, and look, 14 videos there. So please subscribe to my TPT channel.